Okay, calling this meeting's order. Please rise for the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting, September 25, 2023, was included in a list of meetings notice sent to the Hunter County Democrat and Courier News on January 5, 2023, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilman Johnston?
Here.
Councilman Parker?
Here.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Here.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Here.
Council Vice President Tilly? Here. Council President Long?
Here.
And Mayor Carroll?
Here. We do have a presentation tonight. Warren Correctly from Supply Clooney, our auditors, is here, as is our CFO. Well, I shouldn't say Warren's here. Warren's on screen. Our CFO is here, to discuss the audit, answer any questions the council may have. There he is, our CFO, Bill Hans, entered the room. I think it's always a good idea for the municipal government to hear from the auditor themselves, even when you get a pretty good audit like we got. I think it's a good idea. Warren, why don't you welcome, and why don't you tell us what you want to tell us before there's questions.
Okay, no problem. All right, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, you can hear me. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Warren Korecki. I'm a partner with Supply Clooney and Company, and we're the auditors for the Borough of Flemington. And this is the presentation, or just a review of the 2022 audit. It was filed back in August. It was filed with the state of New Jersey, and may I just say, this is what they call a statutory audit. The state of New Jersey puts out their own audit manual, and they want the presentation of the financial information in a certain way. So we have to follow the manual. It's called a special purpose framework, or another form of accounting. So it's basically, it's on a nutshell, it's basically a cash basis accounting. You can set up some receivables for grants and stuff like that, but everything else is cash. So if you collect the cash, then it's a revenue. If you spend the cash by check, it's an expense. There's not too many, you don't accrue too much and things like that, but it's a very conservative form of accounting, and every municipality in the state of New Jersey and county has to follow this form of accounting or presentation of financial records. Now, we get all our financial information from the financial records that your CFO, Bill, maintains, and from the departments, mainly the tax collectors. So everything comes in, and we compile it, and it becomes these financial statements. And again, we're filing the format. It's quite extensive. There's a lot of there's a lot of information in a report. I mean, it's by different funds, because you are into fund accounting. That's what governmental accounting is all about. And if you have I don't know, do you have the reports in front of you? You don't really have to. If you do, it's fine. If not, that's okay too. There's certain schedules. Like I said, there's about 100 and something pages in this report. A lot of it's redundant. Again, it's going back. The manual that we do follow actually came out in 1964. And it was revised in 1987. So the format's quite old, and they're trying to, come up with some new, less requirements in the report itself. There's a lot of pages in the back. There are just support schedules for the numbers in the front. It's kind of how you got there. They really mean, honestly, they don't mean anything, but it's just a redundancy. If as council, you probably want to look at the current fund. That's your operating fund, your day-to-day operations. It follows the budget that you adopt, so the revenues that you anticipate, and then the appropriations that you vote on, and how everything is expended against those. So if you look for the year 2022, your total income was a little over 17 million. Your expenses were around 17 million. So you had excess revenue of 728,000, which was up from the prior year. So your surplus did increase. Your surplus last year at the end of the year was 709,000. At the end of 22 was 1,067,000. So you did a little bit better operational wise this year. Okay. The next schedule that you have is what they call the A2. That's just your anticipated revenues. It's what you realized against those. I mean, you had, and the thing to report is, I mean, whatever you anticipated in the budget, you realized at least what you anticipated. So you had all excesses against those revenues. There were actually no deficits against the revenues anticipated. The other schedule that I always like to point out is what they call the A3. It's the statement of expenditures. And that's basically, it emulates your budget that you adopted, your 22 budget. So if you follow that, the first column is your adopted budget. The second column is your modified. That's if you made any transfers during the year. Your third and fourth column is what you paid or charged. Now, this reflects because Bill Hance has to set up an appropriation ledger that follows this budget, and we do audit this. All the expenses that are going in there, we make sure they're the right amount, they're in the right account, and they're for the right year. So whatever he maintains is against this budget because that's what you appropriated. And again, I'm reporting there were no over expenditures. There was nothing not in compliance with the state of New Jersey budgeting laws and regulations. I also like to point out, in other words, you did get what they call, in other words, our opinion. In other words, we come in as auditors, we give you an opinion, and it's called a clean opinion or an unmodified opinion. And what that basically means is, in other words, your records are maintained in accordance with the state guidelines, which is the audit manual, state regulations as you're going along. And it just, as councilman, it means that Bill is maintaining the records of the borough in accordance with the rules and regulations, and you have adequate internal controls on those records. Okay. The other schedules I would point out, the other one is capital, because that's where you spend, you know, your projects. I mean, you had it doesn't deal so much with fund balance because you appropriate in other words, through your bond ordinances that you adopt. You did adopt a couple ordinances last year, about $3.6 million that was authorized. And if you have the C7, I mean, that's if you don't have the report, but that shows you the detail of where you spend it, because there's only two ways you spend money in a municipality. It's against your budget that you adopt and against the bond ordinances that you adopt. So you spent around $4 million last year and all against your bond ordinances. And those ones were various capital improvements. I don't know what that is. The other one was acquisition of Main Street. So you spent some money on those and there's balances left over. And that's basically about it. You do have your utilities. In other words, the same way they come in. There's a schedule on each utility in here. And you did, in fact, make money with your utilities. You didn't have any deficits in the utilities. You made money back each year. So your utilities are considered self-liquidating. That means you have fees that cover your operating expenses for them, and you do have fund balances in both utilities. That's basically it in a nutshell. If there's any questions on the operations or anything we do as auditors, I'll gladly answer those. But you, as a whole, you have a good financial operation there. You have somebody that's really controlling the records that know how they work, and they're reflected in this report for that way. And that's good for your standpoint that you know that anything that Bill gives you, in other words, if he gives you monthly budget reports, they're in the requirements of the state of New Jersey, and they do go back to the records and detail records that he maintains.
So, thank you so much. I just want to say, I mean, we all know that Bill is excellent at maintaining our books, but you did have a comment in there that there's really no checks and balances because Bill is.
Yeah, he's the sole man. That's he's by himself. Exactly right.
Have other clients in the same position as Flemington is?
Excuse me, I didn't hear it.
Any other clients in other municipalities that are as small as Flemington in the same position that we're in, where we don't have a separate treasurer or a separate anybody to do checks and balances on that?
They usually have sometimes an administrator, you know what I mean? And usually like the finance committee is more involved. I don't know if you have a finance committee out there per se, but the reports are financed with the finance committee and somebody's like looking at it. So there's like an alternate control, you know what I mean? And we have that comment in a lot of the smaller municipalities because you don't really, I mean, all we're just trying to present out, Bill is the sole person that's doing that. So unless as counsel, you're getting, you know, involved with this and like looking at the reports and whatever he files with you, there's really not much as someone else employee looking at something there. I mean, you could have somebody else reconcile the banks for them or help them out. I mean, just somebody has some type of a check and balance, but that's about all you can do. It's not, nothing you're doing wrong, but it's just because of the size of your entity, I mean, you really have to hire somebody else if you want to really do that, to have a proper check and balance on them.
Council President, do you have any questions?
No, not at all. It's just, I think, from what I'm hearing is, Bill is doing a good job and we can get away with that because we trust him and he knows what he's doing, and that's pretty obvious. So I don't really have a question other than just one concluding sentence. That's it.
Council Vice President?
No. Good job, Bill. Thank you for keeping the borough in line.
Mr. Parker?
Don't, except to say thank you, and this all comes back to when you sit with you, you kind of lay it all out. Whether you like it or not, you just lay it all out, and I just think the truth. But I'm also excited to hear that there's a surplus, a bigger surplus this year than last year. That's pretty exciting. I didn't know that. So thanks.
Ms. Engelhardt?
Yeah, thank you, Bill, for all the work that you do every day. I really appreciate it. Warren, I just want to actually, my question related to the surplus that Councilman Parker just mentioned. I
Right.
was frivolously writing notes. Could you repeat again what that was? And this is for,
Okay, at the beginning of January 1st, 2022, you had 709,000 of surplus. And then at the end of 22, December 31st, 22, you had 1,067,000 in surplus. So your surplus went up, about $300,000.
okay,
That's what we started this year with. And the results.
That's just, yes. So when you were doing your 23 budget, you had the 1,067,000 to use in the 23 budget.
The budget goes fully aware. We have that money.
yeah, I couldn't write fast enough. So thank you for repeating that.
Okay, no problem.
Great, thank you.
Ms. Rossetti?
No questions. Thank you for that little overview, and thank you, Bill, for all your hard work.
Johnson?
No. Bill, thank you for your service.
So, Bill, do you have anything you want to add to what Mr. Kornecki said?
No, his staff always are very thorough and, we've worked with them for a long time.
Suffolk Cooney is an excellent firm.
Yeah.
Excellent firm, and always has been. Okay, well, thank you so much. We do have this resolution approving the audit on, so,
Okay, and if you have the report and you're looking through the report and something doesn't make sense, I mean, feel free to call me at the office at any time, send me an email. I mean, we're always available. Because I know the report's quite extensive and there could be, confusion the way things reference back and forth. But if you have any questions of what we do, don't hesitate to call or through Bill. You can ask Bill and he'll get to me. We do talk, not quite often, but we do talk during the year a couple of times at least.
thank you very, very much. Very
Okay.
much.
Good evening, all.
Thank you.
Okay, back on the agenda under Mayor's report, a couple of things, I think. One is Bill did get notification from the state regarding the $250,000 for the police building processing center by email. I guess you got it today?
Yeah.
Right, today. So once he fills out the report on the computer, I guess a check will be forthcoming to put into that line item towards the police building. Still have not heard anything from the federal side. We're still in the federal budget, in the Senate side, which is good and holding. Let's hope that continues. Do have a small closed session tonight to talk about two redevelopment projects, business simple updates. And I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to tell you all. But when it hits me, I will just add in, because I know there was something else and I didn't write it down. Council President, do you have a report?
Yeah, very, very short one tonight. Courts, the court's gonna be posting 2 open positions for violations clerks this week. And the court administrator, Bianca Watkins, has updated disbursements. They're completely up to date now through August. So next up is September, and that's where we're at. So we're in good shape there. And then as far as police, I have no news to report this evening. That's my report.
You don't want to share what you shared with me about the police
What was that?
car? The car?
Oh, the accident? Yeah, there was an accident a couple of days ago in the rain. One of our officers was, I believe, traveling to town and went into a tree and banged the door pretty bad. He's okay. There was no injuries, but we did have another police car get wrecked. And that's it.
Council Vice President.
Alrighty. I don't know why, but I keep getting property maintenance complaints. So Liz, if you can have Dave, excuse me, look at 16 Court Street, I'd appreciate it. The fire department is having a fall festival on Saturday, October 7th from 12 to 7 p.m. It'll be held at Lone Eagle Brewery. Rain date is Sunday, October 8th. There'll be food vendors, beer and cider vendors, and entertainment. Please come out and support the fire department as the proceeds will be benefiting them. The fire department is selling raffle tickets. Cash prize of the first prize is 35% of the proceeds. Second prize is 15% of the proceeds. Tickets are $5. Winners will be drawn on 11/24, which just so happens to be Thanksgiving Day, which means we'll be doing this sometime during the trick or treat. My other thing is the 2023 Trick or Treat Candy Assistance Program is in full swing. This is open to Flemington Borough residents only. Please see the Borough website for registration form. I'll be putting a box in Borough Hall for anyone that would like to support this program by dropping off a bag of individually wrapped candies. If you have any questions, please contact me at 609-608-2179 or katetilley@historicflemington.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rossetti, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. Not too much today, but I did touch base with Dave Giuliani to confirm. I know there was a question last meeting about grass near the curb, like on the opposite side of the sidewalk. So just to reiterate, that is a property owner's responsibility. So he has been out trying to keep up with everyone, make sure their lawns are getting cut, busy around town. But just a reminder to residents, please do, especially with all this rain we're getting, keep up with lawn maintenance. Thank you.
Yeah, I confirmed that also with my Campia, that it is the curb of the street and your sidewalk is indeed your responsibility to keep the grass going.
Perfect.
They do have the sweeper that if the weeds are dead, the sweeper will grab them and pull them out, but it will not do that with live weeds or grass. Parker, do you have a report?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. So one of the things I'll start off with is that I went to an event on Saturday, which was NAACP Gala, which was their first gala. Sold out. It was probably one of the better galas I've been to in a very long time. And what made it so special is that there were other politicians there. There were people from the media there. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with someone from NPR that we're going to actually connect sometime next week to talk about. So I'd like to get Flemington on NPR in some way, shape, fashion, or form. But also the honorees were just very uplifting. And I think what most people don't understand is that, NAACP is not a Black organization. It never has been. NAACP was actually started by interracial group. It was a white group and a black group, and as a matter of fact, one of the head leaders was named a guy by the name of Moskowitz, I think, Moskowitz, back in 1909. And so one of the things that NAACP is trying to do, and I'm certainly, this is why I'm a big fan and I'm on board with it, is that they are looking to be inclusionary and not exclusionary, right? And so when at the gala there were, there were Republicans and Democrats and black, white, Latino, Hispanic, whatever the case may be, and I think that's the really important part. So one of the things that I did, besides the newsletter starting, one of the commitments I had made to this community is that I was going to start making things more inclusionary, and so I'm starting to work with that. Now that I've gotten NAACP and gotten them involved, I'm actually going to be working with the Indian community as well as the Hispanic community. So that's my next focus. I needed to get the newsletter up and running, and now my next focus is doing that. I do intend to sponsor, and I will bring this up, is that I've started working with Robin and some of the business community. I'll bring it up at FCP, is that we are going to have a Juneteenth celebration in Flemington next year because we need to have it. And we need to have it because we're the county seat and that this is Hunterdon County and we need to be the leader in this. So that's actually underway. I'm working with NAACP. I'm working with SAM, which is the African American Museum that's in Montgomery Township. And I'm working with some other people outside New Jersey to come in and more on the entertainment stuff. So that's my focus for being there. Now let me go back to the newsletter. One of the things I did kind of drop the ball on the newsletter is getting it out to a lot of the businesses. I have gotten it out to businesses on the highway. I have gotten it out to some of the businesses in Stangle, some of the businesses on Main Street. I still need to get out more. And so I will try to get that up and running. However, the next newsletter is going to be focused. It's going to come in November, and I want to focus in on the various volunteer organizations that are in Flemington, because I don't think a lot of people understand who they are and what I certainly didn't know. And so I want to reach out to those volunteer organizations such as the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and I know there's a lot of other ones that I just can't think of at the top of my head. But I definitely want to reach out to them, and I want them to be a part of the newsletter besides the ongoing, which is we have to make sure that it's done, and that is what's going on in each one of the committees and what's going on around town. So things like, I think for Susan, for the committee that you sit on, the planning board, I think there's some information that we need to get out there because it's very confusing to the business owners and in terms of processes. I think I talked to the mayor about this not too long ago, and there's a lot of confusion. So we need to give people information so they'll know what to do. I think that's the bottom line. I don't think anybody's doing anything wrong. I just think that it's a matter that it's not being communicated effectively. So besides that, that's what I got.
Thank you. Mr. Johnston, you have a report tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. No report this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Engelhardt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I'll start with the Samuel Fleming House. I did attend my first meeting with them as their new liaison and got to meet everybody. I was really impressed with the dedication of that organization and group of volunteers. The next big event for the Fleming House is on October 14th, the pumpkin decor decorating from 1 to 3 p.m. on October 14th. So I'd encourage everybody to check that out. The next planning board meeting is October 3rd at 7 p.m. The agenda includes Central Station. It's one of the applications. The agenda is available on the borough website. The school district board of ed meetings, the next Flemington Raritan School District meeting is October 11th at 7 p.m. And the high school district is October 16th at 7 p.m. I know we had written a bunch of stuff for the newsletter, and one of the things that just didn't have room, and there was lots of stuff in there that didn't have room to get in, was just a reminder that school started this month, and for everybody to please be aware of the 25-mile-per-hour speed limits, especially because we have a lot of kids that walk across town to our borough, that school in the borough, Griffiths right down the street. And then finally, I wanted to mention that I had the honor of attending the Go 100 Awards breakfast on Friday morning along with the mayor. And both the school districts, the elementary school districts and the borough and our police department all received awards for all different kind of smart street programs that they personally ran. And I wanted to acknowledge all of them on their efforts, because, you know, everybody has different things that they do and spend time to volunteer with, and these little things that everybody does kind of works together and pitches in is really great. So it was a really positive experience. I wanted to thank everybody involved with those programs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask Susan and Tony questions, please? So Susan, can you just clarify for me, when you said Central Station, that's the Burkett's property on Mine Street?
It is.
And that'll be at the planning board on October 3rd?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, thank you. And then Tony, when do you need your articles when do you need
So
your
I'll let you
articles
know,
from
I'm actually meeting with them on Friday,
Okay,
so I'll let you know, I'm gonna put a memo out to everybody
perfect.
on Friday to let you know what the deadlines are.
Okay,
I
thank
know the advertising deadlines are on the 25th of October, but the newsletter, it depends on what we're gonna put it out to that.
Okay, just
But
let me
we're gonna
know.
put it out,
So it's still going out, we're not, no,
yeah, we don't.
okay. Okay.
Unless you want to give me the money to mail it, I'll mail it.
No, that was part of the prior administration's negotiations from our administrators, and he had negotiated it was gonna get mailed out.
Remember we pulled that back.
Okay. Alrighty then, so, under the consent agenda.
Nope, minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, public comment.
Oh.
I'm way down, so, public comment, I am holding people to 3 minutes, Robin, because after you took 15 last week, it got out of control.
And I got a timer.
Out of control.
I'll take
so-
a timer. And I'll stand and. Make sure that's on, because I turned it off before.
No, me, Robin.
That's pretty funny. I don't think it's.
Promise you it wasn't me.
No, you gotta hold it. Huh? You gotta hold it. Oh, there's an extra one here. on this.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyone?
excellent.
Over here instead, Robin?
That's okay.
That's fine.
All right. So I just wanted to say that we've had a lot of rain and a lot of cancellations. And we'll be happy to let people know when things are rescheduled, when it becomes more clear. But 39 Mine did have their 10th anniversary carnival, and they were one of the few games in town, and they were very, very busy and very grateful for everybody who showed up. This coming weekend is another jam-packed weekend with events. We have the New Jersey Storytelling Festival relocating to Flemington. There's storytelling events. People can also jump in and sign up to do a family storytelling event. But we're really excited about that. It's the same time as Lone Eagles Oktoberfest and the pumpkin train rides.
and a blues concert over at Stengel on Saturday night. So it's really a very busy weekend. And the following weekend will be just as busy with the Firefighters Fall Festival at Lone Eagle, the historic Main Street sidewalk sales for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. We have food trucks, only 1 or 2, but well placed to make sure that people can shop and eat. Because many of our restaurants don't close early or don't open until later, so we do the best we can. And we also have a couple of bands on the chamber lawn, which we're excited about. So I think it'll be a great weekend. More pumpkin train rides, and then we have a new event called Saucetoberfest that's relocating from White House Station to Flemington. So we seem to be getting a lot of events that my office can help support, but that doesn't have to produce all by ourselves from other places. And then the very exciting news is that we have a bunch of Halloween events. We've spent a lot of time thinking about how to restructure our kids' parade and dance contest, and we think we figured out how to make this the most exciting experience for the 300 plus kids that show up. We have roles for anyone who wants to lead a game, an activity, a judge, but we have simplified because it's kids and we don't need to add pressure to an already, it's hard to get 300 kids to do what you want them to do when you don't normally run those kind of activities. So we're excited. Please come. That will be on Main Street. Despite any construction that's currently there, we've been guaranteed Thursday, 10/26. Thank you.
Before you step down, Robin, so on the 15th of September, the borough received very short notice that on the 19th of September, the road would be, Main Street was going to have a detour, would be turned into one way because there was going to be a crane sitting in half of Main Street, putting up steel for the Union Hotel project. It is now the 25th of
It
September.
arrived today.
Did it arrive today?
I have,
Because their communication with them, and our engineer called them and said, you gotta do better on communication, this is just not good. Do the businesses on Main Street, did you give them
we
notice?
did. I personally called people to tell them what was happening. And then we sent something out immediately, I think for that Monday, saying it was coming on or soon, and it arrived today. So the crane showed up later this afternoon.
Okay, 'cause I was on Main Street today, and it's like.
It was only there for a couple of hours, but it's gone. So it will arrive in the morning and be buttoned up and parked somewhere.
My understanding is it's gonna be sitting there, but
It's not
It's
sitting
not-
there tonight.
all right.
Yes, what we were told was that the street will be reopened.
Okay.
So, and buttoned up, otherwise they'd have to be out, the police would probably have to be out there all night long.
Well, they said it was gonna take about 3 weeks, so.
Yes,
So 3 weeks is now.
yes, yes, and we also have Bloomfield that will be closed in some time in the future as that project makes its way down to Bloomfield. So between Main Street being closed and Bloomfield being inaccessible for a period of time, we really need to support our businesses through this weekend sidewalk sale, through the Halloween event, through shopping later in the day. Because it's really a struggle.
Okay.
What time is the
Halloween event?
The Halloween event starts at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Alrighty, thank you very, very much for that report. Anybody else from the public? And the Halloween event that starts at 5 o'clock is on Main Street.
Correct.
Right.
It's, the closure is Capner to Bloomfield to Cap.
Anybody on screen? have
I don't
anything?
see anybody with their hand up.
Seeing none. approval of the minutes. We have the regular session of May 8th, 2023. Can I have a motion, please?
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Long a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have the executive session from May 8th.
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Long a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I should have asked any opposed for. Okay. The consent agenda, just FYI, these chapter 159s, for those who don't know what 159 is. That's revenue that we didn't know an amount. So, you know, if we got money, for example, the Environmental Commission submitted for a grant and they got the entire amount, and that's coming in two groups, $1,000, and then when they spend that money, they get another 500. If they exceeded the 1,000, up to it 500. So, but I guess they didn't know how much they were going to get. So this is unanticipated revenue for these three. And resolution 1 is statutory that the council must approve the audit and sign that you got it. You don't sign that you, oh,
I forgot to print that.
hey, okay, so this
Yeah,
is the
that's-
law.
Yeah.
Every member of council must sign that they received the audit
Mhm.
and that you understood that you received the audit. Doesn't mean that you understood the audit, doesn't mean that you agree with the audit, but you must sign it that you got it. And Carla it's a long process. Carla has to notice it in the newspaper. She has to send it to Trenton. So she will put the signature, you can put one in everybody's box, right?
Yeah.
She'll put one in everybody's mailbox and let you all sign it and collect them, and she'll get them collated and down to Trenton. So,
Tilly will move.
this is the whole consent agenda. Is there a second for the consent agenda?
Long a second.
Roll call, please.
Sure. Councilman Johnston,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yeah,
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly. Yes. And Council President Long.
Yes.
Thank you. We don't have any public hearings tonight. We have no ordinances up. So the next thing is under the regular agenda, and that is what I wanted to talk about. So there's a couple of things. So the first resolution 2023-171, can I have a motion authorizing the issuance of a class 5 retail license to Aunt Mary's?
Tilly move. Tilly will second.
Okay, any discussion? Our chief of police, blessed, Aunt Mary's.
No pun intended.
No, blessed Aunt Mary's in Akron, State, New Jersey. We just supply a plan that they also gave to the state that ran a couple hundred pages. Our attorney has opined that it is okay to go ahead and award this, as they already have one of the 2 under our ordinance that we allow in this town. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilman Johnston,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
yes,
Engelhardt,
Yes.
President Tilly. Yes. And Council President Long.
Yes.
Thank you. The next resolution, it's, there is no, so I just want to clarify, this is resolution authorizing PSNS to design mechanicals for a new HVAC system for the lower level of the new police facility, period. You authorized up to $7,500 for them to do that. They came in with 5 options to look at. And Mike Campion and Councilwoman Tilly and her husband, who is an HVAC professional, who went to the police building with Jerry, our chief of police. They reviewed all the proposals. Mike Campion and Mr. Tilly both strongly recommended option 4. Option 4 is the entire basement, not just the processing center, but the whole ground floor. There was an estimate in that proposal that it could cost as much as $80,000 all in with equipment and whatever. But PSNS, and Angela Gonzalez, our architect, is on the line right now. PSNS recommended that the only award we put in the bid, so this is, we're not awarding that contract, we're just putting it in the bid doc for the entire processing center and the upstairs handicap bathroom. So they're gonna break out just that part of the overall plan. Because with the Department of Corrections and everything else, there could be other changes downstairs, so they don't wanna award the whole thing, have it all get installed, and then have changes be made to the floor because the Department of Corrections didn't like something. So let me get a motion in a second. We'll open this up to discussion with Angela on the phone. Is there a motion?
Want to move?
Second?
Engelhardt will second.
Okay, does anybody have any discussion or questions for Angela, who's on Zoom somewhere? I see your name up there, I think.
Yeah, you want me to make her participate?
Yes, please give her a voice.
I'm coming, Angela.
Oh my God, there she is. Hello, Angela.
Oh, you gotta unmute yourself.
You're on mute, Angela.
There we go. Sorry.
Did I get that all right?
Yes, but basically we don't want to design something that could potentially be changed further down the line. So, you know, let's get the processing center set. We know what it needs to do. And then phase 2B, we can then investigate and make sure that all the way it's going to get laid out is approved by DOC.
So, but we're going with the idea of option 4, which is
Correct.
not the ductwork and all that other stuff. Right. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Sure.
So timing wise, Angela, what are we looking at from today looking forward? What are we looking as far as timing to get the bid document out? And I guess first having all this designed.
Yeah,
second,
and
the bid document.
yeah, so we've done some lead work already in getting the information. I was waiting for tonight to make sure everybody got blessed before. I didn't want to go spending money that, you know, and having to backtrack. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be about midweek next week, thereabouts, making sure that there's no other issues. But I think now that we know the course that we need to take, that should be fine. And I've already, you know, I've given the DOC kind of a preliminary layout of the, at least the architecturals, just to make sure, because, you know, the ceiling is so constrained, and, you know, we have to kind of basically encapsulate that area to make it secure. So they kind of said, no, you're on the right track. So that was good.
Okay, and that's for the design itself you're talking
The
about.
design itself, yeah.
So that midweek next week, then after that, figure out
Excuse
what
me,
all
sorry.
needs to be adjusted, and then you put the bid out. How much
Yeah,
time?
unless they come back and say, oh, you know what? No, you need to change this. But
Okay,
our intent is that hopefully it's a quick turnaround after that.
okay. And oh, you know what? I had another. I forgot what it was. Okay, only because I guess there's a couple things, like being police commissioner, and kind of seeing this project moving. The chief has communicated to me that he's concerned about the current building and being able to sustain a hard winter season, if that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And also, we now have a major shift in the project is now going to the front of it. And, I know my fellow council members will agree that, in Flemington, there's a lot of feelings of nostalgia among our residents. And it's a very powerful emotion. But the equal emotion, I think, on the flip is when you start to see things happening, you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
And it's an emotional thing. It's deep. So, my concern is one for the police station current and getting these officers
Yes.
out of there into their new
Mhm.
home. And also the fact that we are seeing some tremendous progress, and this is what the residents have wanted for quite some time.
Mhm.
And I guess, I know you've been working very hard on this and quickly.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to throw it out there just to inform my other council members, where my head's at, and let you all know where I've been with all this, and hopefully we can get all this squared away the right way midweek, and we're good.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay. All right. Well, that was it. I know there
Okay.
was something else, but if I come up with it,
Okay,
I'll fire it away.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, Angela. Thanks for being here tonight. When we were,
I'm sorry, excuse me.
it's okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, go ahead.
When we saw you last, we were told that we were going to be getting some preliminary bid documents for the architectural work. By it was around August 25th, and then I know that there was an extension of that, understandably. When you also needed to do some additional research for this HVAC work. Now that that's done, are the architectural, the general construction draft bid documents ready for us to take a gander at in draft form? Because I know that you were, like I said, you were supposed to be ready for that portion of the work. Is there something that we can see and I can look at? Otherwise,
I can send you something tomorrow if you guys want to see something that's, in not the complete portion, because we're still coordinating with the HVAC. So there's going to be some stuff that's, still being worked on. And as we speak, I'm doing little tweaks to things to make sure we're coordinated. So I can do that as long as you understand that it's in progress.
that's why I said draft form, and that's why I was this draft form at the end of August. So I'm excited to know that we can see that. That's fantastic. Will those documents also include the front end, the bidding documents, or are we? I mean, I'm assuming you're using the front end specs from the front end legal documents that are standard here in the borough, and then are you?
I would need to receive those. I haven't received those.
Received those yet. So I guess I'll ask if that there's coordination that she needs to do, and just by to give her our standard front end is for them to keep moving. So I'd ask the borough to do that, please. My next question is this, Angela. Is there any reason why we can't bid this out as a multi-prime? Meaning, if the state allows public bidding either to be a single prime or multi-primes. Is there any reason why we can't get the architectural bid documents out the door and and have that bid clock start while we're waiting for the final versions of the HVAC documents?
We're so close that it doesn't make any sense to separate things out, and realize that you also need to go to DOC and make sure that things are approved by them. You don't want to put something out and then it not be, they make changes.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. I mean, at this point, you're saying middle of next week, so like October 4th, that you'll have the HVAC documents, and we'll get you those front end documents for you to look at. I don't necessarily have a problem at this point going out as, would there be any financial benefit, even if we've got all the documents together, to do separate primes? Because I know sometimes it's better to financially go out to bid with public documents as one package versus the 5 separate trades.
There's so many little pieces to this. I think that it probably makes sense to bid it all one and have somebody who can manage the whole thing, as opposed to kind of piecemealed out. and then not having one person being able to manage it. That's just my,
Very
know,
complicated project.
yeah, it's not a simple, you know,
Okay,
job.
thank you. There was one more question I had and now I lost my train of thought.
Excuse me.
So can we get a draft of the HVAC, documents next week when you issue those?
That's the whole that's what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
All right, so we'll have the architectural, drafts in the next day or two and the balance of them, next week, correct?
Okay, I guess I'm trying to understand. I can get you the plans for the architectural. You're gonna get them next week, so I guess I'm not sure if there's,
If you want to give them all next week, that's fine.
I mean, whatever, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's gonna be a ton of change, but there's coordination pieces just because, you know, we're just making sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay, so when you submit to DOC,
Mhm.
I know
I'm sorry, you dropped out for a second.
when you submit to DOC, I know
Mhm,
there's no guarantee of a turnaround time.
mhm.
Realistically, put in and I legally as well, can we advertise to bid and get that bid clock running while DOC is reviewing the documents? And if there are any changes, issue an addendum?
I mean, that's certainly a possibility. We can do that. And I can talk to my contact at DOC and see what they have to say.
As long as, would you mind, Angela, asking DOC if there's any legal reason why we can't issue the documents for bid? And if there are any, and if there are any comments from DOC that affect the scope of work, that we could
Mhm.
get those through addendum form?
Yeah.
So, bidding process, because
Sure.
with the 3-week required, bid, calendar, I really don't want to see us having to go to DOC, wait for their responses, incorporate that.
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
So
I get it. Yeah,
Parallel, can we confirm that with DOC?
Yeah.
Thank you, that's all.
you're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions for Angela?
Tony, did you?
No, good.
I have 2 quick ones.
Go ahead.
So Angela, your firm is designing the air conditioning layout with DOC's approval?
Yes, I had talked to them, told them what we, you know, what the constraints were and what we were doing.
Have you yourself seen the site?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
So are you the one that's designing the air conditioning layout then?
No, I am not. I'm the architect, not the mechanical engineer.
Is the mechanical engineer planning on visiting?
He has visited the site.
Okay.
Is that called?
Well, sorry,
Yeah.
I missed the meeting.
Mhm.
So the air handling unit that has no access to the access panel? How is
That has,
where is that
sorry,
being-
go ahead.
Where is that being addressed?
That's a separate issue, that's not part of the phase 2A.
Thank you.
I actually thought of one other question related to HVAC, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Angela, from what I understand, there was some part of this overall HVAC system that was relatively new when we bought the property. Is that the case? I'm trying to get a handle on what,
Not the unit that's being used for the phase 2A. That unit is like 40 years old.
Yeah, it had a 1974 serial number on it, Susan.
no, what I'm asking was, maybe I didn't make, I'm sorry. Excuse me, maybe I didn't ask my question correctly. I'm not questioning the scope of work here. I'm just, was there any portion of the building overall that did have any type of new HVAC system?
I don't think there was anything that was relatively new, except maybe some of those split units, but I don't think they were that new.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
Wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, the only-
yeah,
unit there is for the, computer room that they created.
Yeah, that one's brand new for the, yeah, you're correct.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, I just
Oh, yeah, that was separate. Yeah,
okay. I knew
sorry.
it was something new and I couldn't remember. Thank you. That's exactly what I was.
And then the
looking
other air handling unit, we believe, was 2013 replaced, so.
for. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else on council, any questions?
One more, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And I'll preface this by saying I was there when you were having an initial meeting with the Department of Corrections. I
Okay.
recall, I saw all
Yeah,
that.
yes,
that
that's
going.
right.
So the HVAC system, if I'm remembering this whole sort of thing correctly, that was something that came up recently where it was like, oh,
Yeah.
this thing's not gonna do it.
Yeah,
So I guess, I suppose I'm asking you to get a crystal ball out here, but in architecturally, besides every issue we know about right now, was there anything else like HVAC major, right? But
yeah.
anything else minor or otherwise that is sort of like a real red flag just to be prepared for perhaps, or?
I know that we've talked to your, sewer, to, Ken,
Deal.
Deal. I know that we'll need a backflow preventer in there, so we are, we've already incorporated that and we've spoken to them, at length, about how to connect and make sure that things are done properly. And we talked also about the, potentially going out the back at some point, but that's not now. So, we're trying to make accommodations and make sure that we're taking care of things. I don't know,
Okay.
did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking for something like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, what's next? Yeah,
I know.
know.
It's tough because it's a quirky building to,
Yeah, no, you're right. And all our best, what's our best laid schemes,
I know.
we know what happens.
Yeah,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you. Excuse me.
Right, if not, there's a motion on the table. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure, Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly. Yes. And Council President Wong.
Before I vote, I just want to clarify with Mr. Corsini. Should Councilman Johnston abstain from this vote? Is that?
HVAC, I mean, it's gonna pass unanimously, Malik, so why don't you just abstain?
Okay.
You can do it. Is that all right, Malik?
Yeah.
Clerk, just mark that as an abstention.
Council President Wong.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, number 7 on the
Thank you.
agenda. 2022-173 resolution approving professional consulting services for the manhole flow, level monitoring, administrative compliance order, ACO, this is from the EPA. Response with Remington Vernick not to exceed $35,800. This was confirmed by Mike Campion that it needs to be done and it needs to be done so that EPA sees that we are moving forward on the ACO. Can I have a motion?
Engelhardt will move.
Is there a second?
Tilly will second.
Any discussion?
I just want to clarify, this is for the manholes on North Main, intersection of North Main and Walter Brand. Is that what it said?
I think that's what he said. Whatever's under the ACO, so I think that's correct. Oakwell, corner of North Main, Milliken, Lombard corner, that whole area. But it's specified.
Yeah, just a several manholes.
Right, but it is specified in the ACO.
In the ACO, yeah. Okay.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly. Yes. And Council President Wong.
Yes,
Funding, I believe, those certifying is coming out of the engineer's budget. Resolution 8, 2023-174 is the partner to that last resolution, approving professional consulting services, sanitary systems, CCTV, and manhole inspection services, for the administrative compliance order, ACO of the EPA, not to exceed $27,250. Again, my champion, stated to me that it needed to be done, and, we need to show that the EPA that we are moving forward. Can I have a motion?
Parker move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Any discussion? Again, this money, I believe, is coming from the engineer's budget.
Some of this was coming from sewer.
They have their own budget line on them, in sewer. I think it's all under engineering now. So it's either sewer engineer or municipal engineer, but it's all under engineering. Roll call?
Sure. Councilman Johnston,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hart,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
and Council President Wong.
Yes.
We don't have a work session tonight. Back to public comment session number 2. Anybody from the public? 1 minute, 3 minutes, Robin? Good. Anybody on screen have a hand up? Nope. See any? Okay. Payment of bills. Can I have a motion to authorize payment of bills in the amount of $2,892,090.39?
Tilly will move.
Parker.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President Wong.
Yes.
Have a small executive session, just some brief updates on Liberty Village and Cardinal negotiations. I don't know if anybody from the council wants a break. We can just get right into that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to go?
You
into
can.
executive session? Is there a second?
Parker second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. There will be no action taken now. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good, whatever.
Um,
Good night, everybody.
Right.